Hello and welcome to another episode of Blue Alpine TV. In today's episode, we will talk about Russia potentially legalizing cryptocurrency trading, and we'll talk about why Waltonchain has jumped over 20% in the last 24 hours. As always, check out bluealpineresearch.com/free-report to get your free fundamental analysis on a cryptocurrency that we think is quite interesting. So sign up on bluealpineresearch.com/free-report. So let's jump right into this first news story. Putins Orders, Russia prepares to legalize cryptocurrency markets by July 2018. So the Russian parliament has given out a publication in which the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, has actually set a deadline on July 1st for relevant cryptocurrency legislation to be adopted by the country. As you know, so far, no bigger country has actually introduced any kind of legislation and regulation on cryptocurrencies. We have heard here and there from different countries giving out statements or settling ICOs as illegal or legal, or even setting certain rules and standards for ICOs. For example, in Switzerland, we have this ICO guide by the FINMA, and so Russia is apparently preparing to legalize big parts of cryptocurrency in general. In the article, it says, the report specifically points to two draft laws centered on blockchain technology that have been developed so far. Russia's Ministry of Finance has put the spotlight on legal guidelines for the issuance of initial coin offering, ICOs, while the country's central bank has prepared a separate draft law on crowdfunding. As always, ICOs get a first rule here, because ICOs are potentially the most profitable, but for the normal retail investor, the most risky investment vehicle. More or less any kind of company or group of people can come together and start an ICO with a nice website and an interesting team. They can initially raise millions of dollars, for example, and states generally want to avoid that. They want to avoid people getting into traps of ICOs that have no substance and are kind of illegal or scams. So initial coin offerings generally are always the state's first priority in terms of regulation or legalizing or putting kind of a framework around it. However, what is interesting here is that in the publication, it says the central bank isn't keen on retail traders and investors participating in cryptocurrency trading. So it's kind of contradicting. So on one side, it says, well, we'll have to legalize this by July 1st. But on the other hand, the central bank is saying, not really sure about this. There is a detailed statement here. So the State Duma Committee for Financial Markets Chairman Anatoly Aksakov has explained the central bank is against the legalization of this type of digital currency. He's referring to cryptocurrency, since in this case, citizens can start actively investing in crypto tools, not taking into account possible risks. So legalizing cryptocurrency exchanges or trading as such is one thing, but declaring cryptocurrencies completely illegal is a whole different thing. So what they are trying to do here is kind of make sure that the retail investors, so the normal people that are investing into cryptocurrencies, are doing so with a certain amount of knowledge. They are kind of against people trading because they have probably seen the headlines or the hacks and all of these things and realize maybe this is a generally much bigger risk for a citizen than if you're investing in stocks from let's say an established company, a company that has gone through let's say in the US the SEC, or in Russia a different committee that is adhering to certain laws. In cryptocurrency you don't really have that. So like I've said, anyone can start an ICO, and once the ICO is through, you can basically start trading on any kind of exchange. So there it's a bit of contradicting. I think we will have to wait until July 1st to actually see what kind of decision will be made, whether it will be completely legal, illegal, partly legal is not clear. there is definitely, they want to establish governance on rules surrounding cryptocurrency mining. So mining is always another very interesting point. As you know, Russia has a lot of cold areas as well. So maybe a lot of miners are moving towards Russia in the hopes that cheap electricity or cold weather will help to cool down the mining rigs and other stuff like this. However, cryptocurrency mining, trading, and ICOs is always treated differently when it comes to regulation and legislation. Now, next up, we have Waltonchain. Waltonchain has jumped in the last 24 hours, as you can see here, from around $20 up to the highest point of 28, close to $30, and has since then stabilized at around 24. Now, with Waltonchain, what was interesting in the last couple of days, there was a kind of a giveaway, I think, or a raffle that has been started and done by Waltonchain. And while they were announcing the winner, they actually realized or didn't realize that the winner is someone from the organization itself, so from Waltonchain. And instead of tweeting the actual name, they tweeted from their own account, which was kind of embarrassing for Waltonchain, the company or the project. But they've since apologized, and the price has dropped immensely because of this story. So maybe we can see it here from the 7-day chart. So it was always on a good $20 and then it actually dropped to $18, stayed there, and then slowly came back up again. So it's news like these obviously can impact the price extremely. If you embarrass yourself in such a way that you're not really controlling who is legally allowed to win the raffle, this can definitely have immense issues on the price, especially in this environment where the prices are super volatile. Generally, the market is a bit shaky these days, so that definitely didn't help. However, it's always interesting to understand where is this number exactly coming from, so why the certain gain came from. Before we dive into the why, we quickly want to have a look at what Waltonchain is and what it does. So it says to create a business ecosystem integrating blockchain with IoT. There, honestly, the text is a bit confusing in my opinion. It's essentially IoT on blockchain. And what they want to do, they have this 4-phase plan. In the first plan, they want to integrate RFID chips into clothing, and in the second plan, they want to mass produce those RFID chips to use it in clothing, B2C retail, and logistics as well. And then they want to get into this idea of intelligent packaging, all of these things. And then in the project phase 4, with the upgrading and iteration of the asset, information collection, hardware, and improvement of blockchain data structure, all assets can be registered in Waltonchain in the future. So they have a pretty big vision of what exactly they want to do. Generally, when we looked at the white paper as well, well, the white paper, first of all, it's not very technical. It's again very geared towards the business investor. It is quite long, so 71 pages. In my opinion, it's much too long for a white paper. A white paper, in our opinion, should be between 10 to 20 pages to really explain what the technology is about, because otherwise you're just trying to explain a vision that is maybe too complicated, and you're maybe trying to bite off more than you can actually chew. So that we didn't really like about Waltonchain in general. However, the case in point from Waltonchain is quite interesting. So this IoT combined with blockchain is a very interesting area. We have a bunch of companies that are looking at this area. VeChain is one of them. Waltonchain is one of them. I think Modem from Switzerland is also one of those companies that are looking into this market. So the IoT market will definitely be interesting. Now, the reason why this jump happened actually was because of this news. So smart city founders Alibaba Cloud and Waltonchain subsidiary Zhongchuan IoT sign strategic partnership. As you know, in these volatile times, partnerships are the name of the game. So if you're either you can provide technology product updates that are fitting for the roadmap, or you can announce some kind of partnership or invest or something like this that really shows someone else is believing in this vision together with all the investors. That can definitely have an increase in price. And this is exactly what happened. However, to be fair, before the actual crises happened, Waltonchain was already quite high. It, I think, jumped almost to 30 or 40 US dollars, close to 40 US dollars, and then gradually dropped down and was never able to properly recover. So it made this huge jump from close to 10 US dollars, then to 36, then come down again, and then go back up again to 38. So there were definitely, there was a bit of hype and then some news which combined the price. So if you're more of a technical analyst, you should definitely look at the chart here and try to understand what exactly is happening. As you know, we are more into the fundamentals of coins. So for us, it's important what exactly Waltonchain is trying to reach and what kind of weight this partnership has. So first of all, it is not Waltonchain directly, but a subsidiary of them. And so Xiamen Zhongchuan IoT Industry Research Institute is a subsidiary of Waltonchain, and they have closed a potential partnership agreement with Alibaba Cloud, Aliyun. And this is the picture of Waltonchain project director Mr. Lin and Alibaba Cloud IoT business department head Mr. Xie. And so Alibaba Cloud is quite an interesting and big project. As you know, Alibaba is basically the biggest e-commerce store in the world, and especially out of China is producing everything in terms of retail the world will need, and also industrial as well. So they're saying here, Alibaba Cloud is committed to becoming the smart engine of the new smart city in China, and providing a steady flow of computing power for the construction of the new smart city. So there is also this entire discussion of Chinese smart cities. As you know, in China, there's a lot of investments into modernization. Smart cities is actually one of them. NEO, for example, out of Asia, is also looking into becoming the platform for smart assets, smart identities, all of these things. So Alibaba Cloud, for example, here is trying to become the smart engine. So they are trying to power all of these IoT technologies that should run on Alibaba Cloud. Now here it says the partnership of the Xiamen Zhongchuan IoT Industry Research Institute and Alibaba Cloud will provide Alibaba Cloud with multiple IoT application solutions designed by Zhongchuan IoT and help establish an artificial intelligence hub for urban management and promote the smart city development. Now, what is a bit weird, so it says here as well, the partnership focuses on 3 points. 1, promotion of Waltonchain blockchain technology to achieve the municipal and commercial IoT coverage. 2, establishment of new smart cities in Xionggang and Yuhang. And 3, construction of smart city schemes and their applications, resource allocation, optimization, achievement of smart resource allocation through the blockchain and IoT technology. So here it says something different than here. For example, the promotion of Waltonchain blockchain technology is not really part of the big idea that Alibaba Cloud and Zhongchuan IoT actually want to achieve. So the goal for both companies is to bring IoT to those smart cities, combine it. Blockchain is definitely a variable here, so this is where Waltonchain could come into play. However, how much Zhongchuan IoT Industry Research Institute is connected to Waltonchain, for example, this is something we would look at in our research paper and really dive a bit deeper into this and analyze this even further. Establishment of new smart cities in those two provinces. yeah, of course, this is the goal of the partnership, but how exactly could Waltonchain, for example, profit from this or help in this case? Now, the third point, I think this is the easily the most important point: construction of smart city schemes through the blockchain and IoT technology. They want to optimize it, use the blockchain, but the problem here is that it's in the early times. This will be super difficult to optimize because the data is very low. It's still like in this phase of being built as well. However, I've never been to China, but I've heard that cities in China change quite quickly. Within 5 to 10 years, cities actually get a complete facelift. So the data that will be needed and actually will be collected by Waltonchain, for example, in Waltonchain's blockchain, could be quite huge in a couple of years. So this could be a very, very big partnership, but it could also be a partnership that will take at least 10, 15, 20 years. And as you know, as investors, we are looking at this whole thing long term, but some people are kind of focused on the short term, on the price action, and just keep this in mind when you're thinking about investing into Waltonchain. We'll do probably a separate video on Waltonchain in the future, but for now, this is it. This covers today's video. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to sign up on bluealpineresearch.com/free-report, and I will actually see you on the next one. Take care.